Hello there. We got a good one for you today, guys. We got an absolute monster. Uh, I watched a little bit of the RFK interrogation to get his job, so to speak. And I wanted to cover this because I found something with a little bit of AI that I want to, and a little bit of research that I want to show you guys because I caught you, Liz. I caught you, bitch. All right, so let's watch this exchange. I'm going to try not to interrupt. I'll react at the end, and then I'll show you this little tidbit. It's going to make her seem really dumb.
I'm asking about fees from suing drug companies. Will you agree not to do that?
You're asking me to not sue drug companies,
No,
and I'm not going to agree to that,
drug
Senator.
companies as much as you want.
I'm not going to agree to not sue drug companies or anybody.
So
real quick, though, guys, here's the biggest issue is if you guys don't know why he talks like that, he has medical reasons why he talks like that. You can go Google him, but basically this is a personal matter to him. This is a Kennedy. This is Democrat royalty. This is the creme de la creme of Democrats. Most people think that if they would have had a primary, and actually, because remember, RFK wanted to run on the Democrat ticket, they wouldn't let him because Joe Biden was the incumbent, so they didn't even have a primary. Okay? They didn't have a primary. That's how Kamala got in. All right? So just so you know, this guy is Democrat royalty. As a matter of fact, if it would have been Kennedy versus Trump, I probably would have voted Kennedy. I am a huge proponent of what this guy wants to do for health, for safety of our kids, for this nation as far as the health of our country is concerned. I am a huge, huge supporter of RFK Jr., okay? And this was well before Trump, well before that came out. I like when he was on Joe Rogan explaining everything, I went and researched him a little bit. I think he's genuinely a very good person. Now, is he above board? No, but none of us are. We all have our own crap. We all have our own problems. And I want you to think about this before you start judging other people. If you were to be a politician and every single thing that you ever did wrong was brought to light, how confident would you feel going into office? Because all these people did it and everyone's got dirt. So let's keep going. The only thing I do want to say is he has a very hard time speaking. You can obviously hear it, right? It's very hard for him to speak. He doesn't sound good because of the things that have happened to his throat. And the fact that she won't let him talk is borderline abusive. It's very, very just, it gives off a bad vibe for Elizabeth Warren, who I already hate.
let's do a quick count here of how, as Secretary of HHS, if you get confirmed, you could influence every one of those lawsuits. Well, let me start the list. You could publish your anti-vaccine conspiracies, but this time on U.S. government letterhead, something a jury might be impressed by. You could appoint people to the CDC vaccine panel who share your anti-vax views and let them do your dirty work. You could tell the CDC vaccine panel to remove a particular vaccine from the vaccine schedule. You could remove vaccines from special compensation programs, which would open up manufacturers to mass torts. You could make more injuries eligible for compensation even if there is no causal evidence. You could change vaccine court processes to make it easier to bring junk lawsuits. You could turn over FDA data to your friends at the law firm, and they could use it however it benefited them. You could change vaccine labeling. You could change vaccine information rules. You could change which claims are compensated in the vaccine injury compensation program. There's a lot of ways that you can influence those future lawsuits and pending lawsuits while you are Secretary of HHS, and I'm asking you to commit right now that you will not take a financial stake in every one of those lawsuits so that what you do as Secretary will also benefit you financially down the line.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You and I, you have said
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine pharmaceutical companies.
Mike,
yeah, you are.
This is
exactly
ridiculous.
what you're doing.
No, look, no one should be fooled here. As Secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturing across our country. And for all of his talk about follow the science and his promise that he won't interfere with those of us who want to vaccinate his kids, the bottom line is the same. Kennedy can kill off access to vaccines and make millions of dollars while he does it. Kids might die, but Robert Kennedy can keep cashing in.
Senator, I support vaccines. I support the childhood schedule. I will do that. The only thing I want is good science, and that's it.
How about then say you won't make money off what you do as Secretary of HHS?
All right, Liz. Well, it's funny you mentioned that. It's funny that you're very worried about him suing vaccine companies and saying you won't make money off of big pharma and blah, 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 like you're a warrior. Well, I decided to Google Mr. Grok, the AI, right, on Twitter, and I asked 3 questions, and I'm going to show you the results. So the first one is, how much money is Elizabeth Warren worth? Around $12 million, even though her salary is $174,000. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, probably doesn't cost that much to live in Massachusetts. She owns a home in Cambridge, Massachusetts, valued at $3 million, and a condo in D.C. worth another $1 million. So there's $4 million in assets right there. She has some retirement accounts, which again, at $4 million at her age, that's probably pretty feasible. That's not a big deal. She got a $300,000 advance to write a book. I'm not going to say how that works, but it's 300 grand. It's not a large portion of the 12 million. Okay. Now I asked if she's gotten any kickbacks from lobbyists. Okay. Obviously I spelled it wrong, but it knew what I meant. Blah, 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 blah. Basically it can't, it's unethical or illegal. It can't really find a whole lot. However, I then asked another question. Has she had contributions from Big Pharma? And this, Liz, gotcha, bitch! So, if you guys haven't seen this one yet, Warren received around $822,000. Wait. How much was her apartment in D.C.? Approximately the same amount of money. Warren received blah, 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 blah. She was noted as the second highest senator recipient of pharmaceutical contributions in 2020. So out of all the senators, during the year of the pandemic, she was the second highest recipient of money. From 2019 to 2020 period, she accepted $821,941 from the pharmaceutical industry. Earlier periods, Warren also received contributions from the pharmaceutical sector in earlier election cycles. Those specific amounts on those amounts are not provided in the result. So, this lady is bought and paid for by Big Pharma. She is the second most bought and paid for senator of all of Big Pharma. That is who is trying to stand on a high horse against RFK Jr. by telling him he shouldn't be allowed to make millions of dollars by suing the pharmaceutical companies that are physically turning around and paying her. So I ask you this, Liz. Do you think people are stupid? It took me 3 minutes to ask AI 3 questions, and within those 3 questions, I got the information that you are the second highest paid senator of all of Big Pharma. So why would you be screaming at this man who can barely talk? Why would you be talking over him? Why would you be absolutely trying to massacre him the entire time when, and there's other videos, I can't find it right now, but you can go research it. He has listed all his assets. He has gone through everything he's done. He listed all his things. He's got the approval from the Board of Ethics. RFK has done every step to prove this. And for the record, RFK does not need money. Okay, RFK does not need the money from these people. He does not need to run for office. He does not need to do any of it. RFK can have a perfectly fine life the rest of his life, forever, and never step foot in the political arena. He is an absolute workhorse at finding out how these companies work, how they screw people over, how they buy into politics, and frankly, they paid her to say, hey, we don't like this guy. Figure something out. And that, Liz, is why you are a grade A piece of shit. All right, guys, that is the video. I am going to turn on my stream again in a little bit. See you then.